right, good morning, my bows and bow ties. I hope you guys had a good weekend. So I want to welcome you back to another chit chat with me. I'm the Black opinionated woman, also known as a bow. So for those of you who are new to my channel, I talk about three things: Black women, Black culture, and anything related to middle age. And today I want to talk about, I guess this is more middle age-ish. So I moved my computer here because I'm getting a glare and apparently my house is dusty. So yeah, I can see all the dust. All right. So yeah, I talk about three things: Black women, Black culture, and anything related to middle age. And that could be anything. That could be about, how our body is aging and children, parenting, retirement, whatever it is. So today, what we're going to talk about is why there are middle-aged women why middle-aged women are missing on YouTube. Okay. There is a middle-aged woman crisis missing on YouTube. All right. So let me go ahead and show you. That was the thumbnail selected when you came in. Okay, so these are the kind of things that I'm just going to touch on, not in any particular order. All right, so this is the thing. All right, it's 7:28. Let's see if we can get this done in about 10 minutes, 10 or 12 minutes. First, I want to talk about um, one of the reasons why. What do you need? Okay, go ahead. No. Wait, where are you going? Hold on a second. What are you trying to do? Nope, you should have. I told you what your deal was. Why are your sleeves wet? So real quick, my son, I don't know why. Every day he comes downstairs, his sleeves are wet from here to here. Like he's the only one who can't brush his teeth without getting his sleeves wet. Tell your brother to come downstairs. All right. So this is the thing. Let's get into it. Hey, just go up there and tell him, okay? Don't yell, honey. So look, we're gonna talk about parenting. Also, family. Already you see him dealing with the family issues, right? The only time I could really get on here is Philly in the morning. I try to do nights, but right now with the scheduling for their sports and everything, it makes it really challenging. And sometimes I'm just flat out tired, and I don't feel like getting on this platform. But part of the reason that you see women missing on this platform is because they are too busy basically raising their family at this point. There's a lot that goes into running this household that I'm in. Trying to keep it from like going up in flames is a tall order. So yeah, I need to raise this. I don't know what's going on. So that's one of the things that we're dealing with. You just don't have the cycles. So I struggle just to make what little bit of content that I can make for sure. And most of the people I know, they're like, "Ugh, I don't feel like dealing with it," because they think that most of the stuff out here on this platform is silly. And I have to agree, especially if it's like curated for Black people. When you look up Black people type stuff, the topics are so dumb. It's a bunch of people who are arguing about things that they're not going to do anything to change. I'm like, if I hear another argument about Black men and Black women and their relationships and who's dating out, and I'm like, I don't care. I just don't care. This is how I know that, like, I would surmise, and I could be wrong, that many of those types of conversations, the reason why they can engage in those kinds of conversations is because maybe they don't have families, or they're not raising kids, or they're not in relationships that can really hold water, right? Like, I don't know how you have that much time. There are people who spend hours upon hours upon hours. That makes me think of that song on this platform. Whereas most of the people I know, honestly, we're so busy between the activities, or one of my friends, for example, is the Girl Scout troop leader. So she's constantly having to plan different things or whatever it is. Sometimes I may have to help or whatever it is. And so between the activities and just the basics of running your house, making sure everyone's doing their homework, making sure everyone is fed, making sure the house is clean. And we do have people come to clean our home, but only every 2 weeks. I shouldn't even say it like that. That didn't come out quite right. That may have came off a little bit tone deaf. But the point I'm making is we just don't have the unlimited cycles to engage in these silly kinds of conversations. It's just, it is what it is. Most of the people who engage in these conversations over and over and over again are either not raising children, they're not in a really good relationship, because I don't know what relationship that would last where you can just be on these platforms for like 8, 10, 12 hours all day, every day, talking in these long live streams, or like, unless you're doing this full time, maybe, but even still. All right. So this is the reason why you see there's like a really sparse amount of content from middle-aged women, and it doesn't matter what the race is. You'll find some who might want to talk about, I don't know, how to apply makeup or something. That seems to be the fail-safe or the go-to for many women out here on this platform, is to talk about beauty, which I'm all here for. I mean, I need to do some of the things too. Let me just say, for the record, just because I'm in my feelings, my hair is always looking crazy right now because I told you I had that one little bald spot thing, so I have to use these medications for my hair, and I don't like the way it feels. It's just. So I can't do the things I would normally want to right now. I'm just trying to let it go. Eventually, I'm going to be braided. But I look, let me tell you, I'm like any other kind of woman. I want to be beautiful. I want to look good and all this. And don't get me wrong, I know how to turn up when I need to. But I think the thing is, I don't want to digress too much. Women, middle-aged women, are not on this platform because they don't have time for the shenanigans. They just don't have the cycle. So I'm going to move on to the next thing. We're going to talk about health and stress. We tend to take on a lot of things. Now, let me just say this before people want to get all in their feelings. This doesn't mean that men are not helpful or that they're not taking on stress or whatever it is. This doesn't mean that. I'm speaking about women. Women typically are taking on a lot, and this is not based on. I didn't do any sort of factual fact checking on this. This is just based off of heuristics and for what I have observed. A lot of the women are taking on a lot of these stressors. All right. And right now, women are trying to figure out, how do I manage my health? How do I reduce my stress and anxiety and panic and all these other things? And for the most part, they're not really going to YouTube for that. They're in book clubs and drinking wine. I wouldn't have any experience with that. But what I'm saying is, a lot of the women I know just don't engage in the shenanigans. Like, they could really care less about what's happening out here on these apps. They're not really into social media. Look, up until recently, I wasn't into social media, right? I just didn't dedicate any cycles. Your free time is so limited. The last thing you want to do is dedicate it to the shenanigans of like a YouTube or whatever. So one of the things that I have come to the realization for is that for my channel, I have gotten with some acceptance that I'm going to remain true to what it is that I believe. I'm not interested in chasing after every salacious topic because I don't care. There's the topics out right now. I think the Will and Jada thing has died down. I don't care about Kim and Kanye. I just really just don't care. I don't care about the Pete Skeet thing. I don't care about. I still can't remember the name of the guy who was with the Instagram girl or OnlyFans girl. I guess she knifed him up and he's like African or something. I can't remember his name, but everyone's like, black women stay out of it. And I agree. I mean, I'm just kind of like, hey, if you don't like black women, I'm not going to come to your defense. I mean, rest in peace. But whatever the guy's name is, like, there's all these other things. Like, for the most part, I don't really care to chit chat about all those topics. Occasionally, yes, but for the most part, it just doesn't resonate with me. I just don't care enough. And I don't know if it's just the space that I'm in, but I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. What I want to know about, you know what I can learn about? How can somebody help me come up with another idea so that I can quit my job and gain more time and maybe just work part-time? I believe women need to have agency in themselves, right? So what in agency yourself, that looks different to everybody. I want to know about the real things. Like, I want to talk about the relationships. Relationships. Okay, like how friendships change. Why am I itching under my armpit? Like women relationships. I'm talking about the real deep ones. Like why they change, what you're looking for. I want to talk about the real things about, like, hey, I didn't put that on here. Like middle-aged women, we have a lot of sleep issues. I know I stay getting up all the time. There's a lot of women who've got sleep issues. It's a common thing in middle age where you're up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, like I typically am. Like, let me tell you, sometimes I'm up and I'm like going into my kids' rooms, checking on them, making sure they're breathing and carrying on. But a lot of times it's just like I'm going through what needs to be done, or I'm supposed to like let go of things that I shouldn't be worrying about, but sometimes it just falls short. So anyway, getting back to it. Middle-aged women just don't have the cycles to sit on YouTube for hours and hours and hours on end unless they're transporting or in transition or transit or something like that. And maybe they can play something or hit something, but they don't have the time. I can tell you the things that they want to do. They want to make sure that they leave a legacy, and probably through their children. Middle-aged women, I think, want, for those who have children, want to raise productive members in society. And so they're doing their best to make sure that they're good people. I mean, you can always find an edge case someplace where someone is like, oh, this woman doesn't care about her children. Look, the fact of the matter is society puts all the pressure on women to make sure they manage their children. Um, so these are the kind of things that they're worried about. They're worried about their mortality because their health changes. You know, you're constantly attacked in the media. You're attacked for your looks, your body type, everything else, your hair, everything. And it's like you got women chasing that eternal fountain of youth in all the Botox. I don't knock them for it if that's what they want to do. Now, I've been really fortunate that um, I don't dye my hair. I think I have good skin. I mean, I've always taken care of my skin, but ever since the pandemic pounds came, and look, I got the gobble going on. You know, I got some situations going on. It is what it is. You're constantly fighting to get some of that bulge off. Like there's some women who just have all the time in the world to work out. God bless them. I go to work every day. I just don't have the cycles to sit there in 20 hours in the class. It doesn't mean that I can't do something. Okay. The point I'm making is middle-aged women just don't have the cycles, and they don't care about the stupid content that's out here on these platforms. They really don't. All right. What's the next one? We're going to talk about purpose. I know a lot of people, when we're talking, let's say, I think a lot of us want to make sure that what we're doing has some sort of purpose, you know, or you want to be helpful in some way. Maybe it's just me. I just feel like I don't want to just wake up every day and go to work just for the sake of going to work. I want to make sure that I'm building something. For me as a Black woman, it's really important that I'm building something that's going to lead to generational wealth transfer for my children. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. I think most of us, we're not too concerned about at this point in our life how to find a mate, right? Many of us are already in relationships, and if we're not, I can understand looking for that content, but generally speaking, we're in relationships and we're like, he gets on my nerves or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, because you've been in it for a minute, right? So you go through the peaks and the valleys, and so now you're trying to figure out like how to make things better, how to spice things up, you know. It's like you get into this comfortableness. Anyway, look, let me just say this. I started to just go and get gutter, but I don't want to be that person here on this platform. But I think the main thing is most middle-aged women just don't care about the shenanigans. They don't have the time and don't want to dedicate any mental cycles to it. Like, you just don't. I know so many women who are like, look, this is what I'm getting ready to do. A friend of mine just texted me. She made me laugh, actually. This is right before here. She worked in the hospital last night, and she gave me a little funny story. Now, I know she's exhausted. She's home right now making sure her kids get up and get ready to get on the bus, and then she's going to go to bed because she's a nurse. She's a school nurse, but she also works at a hospital in like during spring break or whatever. So she sent me a funny little clip and some not clip, but some stories or whatever like that. And the things that she thinks about, it's really interesting because when you're working, you know, if you're a school nurse, and then during times when you can, you pick up a couple of shifts at one of the hospitals, you think that she has time to sit there and talk about stupid stuff? She's exhausted. She's exhausted. But she's thinking about is getting her kids on a bus, getting some sleep, and then making sure she plans for whatever's going on later on, whether it's activities or whatever like that. She doesn't have time for the shenanigans. She hit me up like, "Have you read a good book lately?" Now I'm in a book club, but look, when I'm listening to, I listen to my books on Audible. I don't even have time. I'm at like 1.5 speed, sometimes 1.7 speed. That's it is what it is, and it's like while I'm coming home. All right. So look, go ahead and subscribe if you like the content. I hope you did, actually. I would really love if you offered up your comments. Let me know what you think. Maybe there's something that you want me to talk about. Oftentimes when people leave comments, they're actually, some of them are really interesting. Some of them, you know, just people just in their feelings. And I'm going to be honest, for those of you who leave like the tacky comments, most of the time, I would say most of the time, I'm pretty much getting my hee haws because I'm like, you were really feeling, you know, like you had some strong feelings about it. But I do appreciate the comments. Sometimes I find them to be hilarious. I'm like, all right, you okay. I'm just like, and I don't always catch them timely, but I do try to look at every single comment. I think I catch most of them. So, all right, look, I got to get out of here. It's 7:42. I always bust my time and I say I'm going to try to do this in 10 minutes. I think this has been 15 minutes. All right. Don't forget to subscribe and like.